so much for joining us today. I was just thinking, Kirsten and I have been to Israel at least 15 times. Joshua, you've been many times. Caleb, this was your second trip to Israel, and war broke out again while you were there.
War seems to always be going on in Israel, but we still had the opportunity to film. We were never deterred, and God led us to some amazing people. We even got to go back to school. I mean, we are graduates of the film and television production industry, and we got to go to Tel Aviv University today to meet Sima Shine.
It's a little nervous going to such a place of higher education to speak with somebody who is literally the expert on this topic, but what she has to say is so incredibly insightful.
Mm-hmm.
No need to be nervous. You guys are smart. Let's go to Israel for the interview.
Going to school can be a stressful time for a student. This is a universal concept. Many people have nightmares about not fitting in at school, failing at school, or in our situation, being late to school. This is Israel traffic. It's always bad. Even allotting in our schedule for extra travel time didn't work this morning.
Man, it sure feels like a school day. Everything bad is happening. We even got lost and showed up at the wrong building on campus first.
And we're at the wrong class, so now we have to turn around and find the real class.
Campus security. Great, more delay.
Of course, this is the Institute of National Security Studies, so one would expect security to get into the Institute of National Security Studies.
Did we mention everything isn't working out today? Here's this amazing segment that we filmed to intro our interview with Sima. Man, we're dropping hilarious back-to-school jokes left and right, but you can't hear it, even though we're mic'd.
Technical difficulties. Another school morning catastrophe. I'd like to say special thanks to Victor, our sound man. Not your fault.
Though, maybe it is. Look, both our camera operators, Harry and Petra, are getting these amazing shots.
But without audio, it means nothing.
I still love you, Victor.
We finally make it inside. Our producer, Louie, let Sima know that we were running late, so she decided to take her time coming in. The professor has that right, you know.
So what did we do as students while waiting? We vegged out on the latest videos trending in Israel. Good times.
We have the privilege today to talk to Sima Shine. She is ex-Mossad, INSS, and Ministry of Strategic Affairs. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
From your perspective and your understanding on national security, what is the greatest threat to Israel's security right now?
So, you know, I used for years to say that, that first of all, there is no existential threat. Israel is a strong state, and the people, and we will survive every challenge we'll have. I used to say it, and I used also to say that if there is a threat that I'm really concerned about is Iran becoming a nuclear state. Because the combination of a radical Islamic state leadership with a nuclear capability is something that I thought could be very dangerous.
So this threat that was Iran, and we're seeing it continue to evolve. You were speaking to us before the interview about how you can get so focused on learning the patterns and habits of your enemy that it's easy to miss when they change. How do you handle a dangerous government like Iran now knowing that they can pivot or the situation can change at any moment? How do you handle security at that point?
So first of all, I have to say that what we see today in the Middle East is a result of Iranian planning for years. Planning and putting a lot of money, resources, and training and everything in different militias, proxies around the region. I think it's a wake-up call, should be a wake-up call for everyone, because what we see today is that once the war between Israel and Gaza started, it immediately stopped to be just a war between Israel and Gaza. It is a war on our northern border vis-à-vis Hezbollah, that is the main proxy of Iran. It is also from militias that Iran brought to Syria, from Iraq, pro-Iranian militias in Iraq, from the Houthis in Yemen. And I think what we see today is the result of what Iran has been doing for years. We have been talking about it, but everybody thought, well, the Iranians have some militias here, militias there, they are selling arms, they are selling missiles. And suddenly everybody sees that they can stop trade when it comes through the Red Sea. They can stop, the Eilat airport port in South Israel doesn't operate anymore because ships cannot get there. So they can put a huge harm on Israel, surrounding it with what we in Israel call a fire ring around Israel. We followed everything that was happening and we understood it, and I can say that even I didn't. What I think is new in the current events is that not only that we knew all these militias and we knew that Iran is trying to concentrate them together. We knew they have opened a war room in Beirut, that all representatives were sitting there and coordinating with each other. But the amount of cooperation and the amount of the willingness of those militias to pay the price, Hezbollah has more than 300 its fighters killed, a lot of destruction and everything, and they are continuing and saying we will continue until the last day of the war between Israel and Gaza. And this is kind of an achievement on the side of the Iranians that have succeeded to make those all together, feeling that they have to support each other. And I will say to your question that also the attack of Iran on Israel, which was an unprecedented event, and its amount and everything, is also, I think, everybody asked me whether the killing of the IRGC officer, high-ranking officer in Damascus was did the Israeli intelligence anticipate such a reaction? And well, I don't know. I'm not in the intelligence anymore, so bless God, I don't have to deal with all this small information. But if I'm looking from outside, my feeling is that what happened in this case, it's not that it wasn't, when you put different possible scenarios, you always put a scenario, you don't believe it will happen, but it should be on the list. So I'm sure it was on the list, but not in the first, second, third place. Wow. And I think part of it is because Israel has been conducting a war against the proxies of Iran for a long time, and the Iranians in Syria. And 1, 2, 3, 4 times you succeed, on the 5th time you miscalculate.
Wow. I know our government, American government, has been pressuring Israel to try to make peace here and there and don't retaliate when Iran just lobbied over 300, drones and missiles into the country. That's unprecedented. If that happened in America, we'd be guns blazing, take them down. But the world is pressuring y'all to let them be, don't retaliate, don't defend yourselves. They have no clue that Iran would be coming for them next. And that's out of their mind. So how should the world react to this kind of danger with Iran? What should the world do to join together to stop this sort of evil?
Actually, this is the question I'm putting every foreigners I meet. Yeah. Because after 2 years ago when Iran started supporting Russia with drones against Ukraine, well, Ukraine war is in the middle, it's in Europe, on the continent of Europe. And still, when I meet Europeans, and they understand the contribution of Iran to the prolongation of the war, and I ask them, so what are you doing against that? So they are calling them, they are talking to them, they are, here and there you see sanctions put on them, but that's not something that really represents what should have been done against Iran. And I think, we in the last, I think in the 2 last terms of elections in the U.S., there was an Iranian involvement through cyber and other media and others. I'm sure it will happen now again. It happened also in Europe. Iranians were trying. Most of the attempts were prevented, but they were trying to kill opposition people in European countries. you know, they are all over the place, and at the end of the day, there is not a united front of the like-minded US and the like-minded countries that decide to, and I'm not talking of attacking Iran. I know everybody is afraid of the option of attacking Iran, which, okay, never mind.
It's on the table. It needs to be on the table.
It should be on the table, even in pronouncing it as an option. But there are so many other things. Iran doesn't want to be isolated, doesn't want to be excluded from different international organization places. So there is a lot to do if there is a united front that decides that Iran should go back to its normal size, which is quite big, but shouldn't be even bigger and influencing the region. And one has to remember, it's not only Israel that is threatened by Iran. It's Saudi Arabia, the Gulf states. We remember what happened on September 2019 when they decided to shoot drones and missiles on the oil facilities of Aramco. So it's not only Israel. And at the end of the day, this is something that should be stopped. And I hope something will change because things are evolving a little bit.
It seems easy for other nations to point the finger at Israel and say, that's not my problem, this is an issue between y'all. But you're saying, no, this is a global situation, and if they were to have their way here, they're just going to continue to move on.
Exactly.
And I agree, you know, let's cut them off, let's isolate them, let's sanction them so that they feel the pressure of the world saying, you better behave, or else we're going to...
And you know, Iran is not, they are very strong on missiles and drones, but they are not a strong state from the point of view of economics, of the support of their population that doesn't support them. So it's not a regime that, you know, is successful in all it's doing. They are very strong on drones and missiles, but not in airplanes, and they are not with the population that hate them. There was just 2-3 days ago, there was a second round of elections to parliament, and in Tehran, 7% of the people went. They say 7, probably 5% went to vote. People don't trust this regime and don't want to support this regime. So they don't have how to do it, because once you go to the streets, as they went to the streets, they are killed. But so they don't go to vote. This is one of the ways that they exercise their right.
Freedom of speech without freedom of speech.
Yeah, exactly.
So Iran presents this facade of strength through their missiles, but yet they don't have the infrastructure through the people to back that up, and we have to keep that in mind.
Very well put.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit before the interview, more so about the understanding of intelligence and how you decipher and decide, you know, what is a threat, what isn't a threat. Did we know, was there anything that had been said to Israel before this attack that this is coming? Did the intelligence have, you know, a tip or anything?
For October 7th, yeah.
October 7, you say? Not the Iranian. First of all, Israel had some intelligence. You know, the problem is, for instance, Israel had the information on the training that Hamas is doing. And we knew exactly that they are training on penetrating into houses, into everything was trained for some years. I must say that, ironically, even though there is nothing that can be ironic now, but they had a movie on their TV that exactly what happened on the 7th of October, exactly. But you know, nobody was thinking that it's something real. Well, they are training. Every army is training. That doesn't mean they are going to execute this. So that I think this was part of the problem. The other part is, of course, at the end of the day, I'm sorry to say, but a lot of arrogance on the side of the Israelis. We, the Israelis, the sophisticated, technologically sophisticated, all these cameras we have everywhere. So this is the first thing that they have tackled. They have shot on these cameras, and we didn't see anything. So there is a mix of and there were, of course, in the last night, it was published already, there were some signs, and there was a phone call between the chief of staff and some others, trying to understand what these signs are. They started to use, the sign was that they started to use Israeli SIMs in their phones.
Israel SIM cards.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And that was an alarm sign, and there was this call during the, I think, 12 o'clock in the night or something like that. The problem, as always it happens, it wasn't the first time ever they did it. Probably they trained it before once or twice. So everybody said, okay, it's a sign, no question, but it happened in the past and nothing happened after that. And then they decided that they will talk again in the morning. Too late.
Sima was with the Mossad. Some people don't know what that is. I believe you guys are the ones that just went to school, but it is the CIA, if you will, of the IDF. Is that correct?
Yes, they're tasked with gathering intelligence around the world and operating to protect the interests of Israel. And man, does she have a lot of information to give us about Iran. And they already have agents, as you know, that have infiltrated America. They're coming through the open southern border of America, and they're tasked with dismantling our government as you know it. So these are dangerous times, and we need to consider them the threat that they are. And yes, they are a big player in prophecy, and we'll talk about that more later, I believe.
Thank y'all so much for sending us to be able to get these messages to you in such a timely fashion so that we can all stand in unity and fight what is happening right now in the spirit.
Now let's go back to more of the interview.
To reference what you said earlier, though, you said that the problem with intelligence is that we get stuck in a pattern of believing this pattern is the only thing that can happen, and so we miss. Can you explain that? Because I thought that was brilliant.
I think what happens in intelligence, that's my experience also, that the more you are an expert and you follow the pattern of the other side and the logic of the other side, and you believe and you read these speeches and you think you really understand the other side, when the other side decides to change direction, you cannot imagine it. You are following the same pattern that you already were such an expert on that.
So we've failed in the past, basically, because we've allowed them to threaten us, in essence. We've done nothing to stand up and say, no, you're not allowed to do this. Now we're dealing with Iran that is more radical, that is more unified, and we should take them more seriously. How do you say we should handle Iran differently now? Then?
Yeah, America.
And I would add to what you said that it's not only that they are more unified and more strong and have a lot of proxies in the region and are threatening others, they are also part of a camp. Today, they are part of Russia, China, North Korea.
Wow.
It's not just Iran. And they feel that they are what they are saying, and I think they believe in that the West is in a path of deterioration. This is the new world order will be different. The U.S. will not be ruling, not be the major superpower. And Russia, China, North Korea, and Iran, this is the future, as they are saying. And I think this is something that I don't think Russia will come to support them the way the U.S. came to support us, no question. But they feel strong because of being part of a system that is anti-U.S. And this is something anti-Israel in some cases, but that's not the main case. The main case of Russia and China is anti-U.S. And Iran feels that it belongs to the proper camp that has a future.
Yeah, the American Haters Club.
Exactly.
In a sense, yeah.
Exactly.
And it's kind of scary because, like we said, we made mistakes in the past, our government, in trying to allow them to enrich uranium in a peaceful way. We gave them a timetable in which they were allowed to do certain things, and we lifted all these sanctions, and that, in a sense, gave them more time to prepare this nuclear weapon, which has been their ambition vocally for decades. Are we to expect that they will complete this nuclear weapon? Iran
is today the closest that it could be to the possibility to take the decision, the political, the strategic decision, to have a nuclear military capability. It's not anymore a technical issue. It's only a political issue. Wow. And when it comes to a political issue, as we have been talking before, we might miscalculate the moment when they will do it. And what I can say is that in the last couple of months, or in the last half a year, I would say, there is more and more talking in Iran, including ex-head of Atomic Energy Committee in Iran, that are saying we have all the components, and if we decide, we can have a bomb.
It seems that Iran's tactics have always been misdirection. So if we want to protect ourselves from our agenda, we get the world focused on something else. So in this moment with Israel, it seemed to shift from they've attacked Israel, the world supports Israel, and now they've shifted it to this anti-Semitic, the world is now focused socially on how we have to stand against Israel because of all these atrocities that Israel's doing. All the while, the world's focused on their anti-Semitic perspective. Iran continues in the background to do all of this. Why is it so important that the world doesn't fall for this anti-Semitism that's once again rising up, this unnatural hate of the Jewish people?
I read details about the campuses, people that were arrested. So in most campuses, there were between 60 to 80% people that were not students at all.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So this is, you understand that they succeeded to bring people that have agendas against, against the US, against everything. I don't know what are other agendas. And they feel that this is the time to come out together and to protest against something.
Seems these groups are very well organized, and they have amazing marketing campaign. They know how to infiltrate the minds of the weak. I say it as weak. And so you have these kids on college campuses saying, "We are Hamas, destroy Israel." Then how do you fight Hamas? What's the best way for y'all to succeed in eliminating the threat of Hamas when everybody's against you?
I want to bring us back to the 7th of October and to the current situation. And I think that Israel has an opportunity now, supported by the US program, to be integrated much better in the region. And this is a very important element for the security of Israel for the future. It's Ben-Gurion that established the State of Israel was always saying that Israel shouldn't be a foreign element in the region. We are Jews, all others are Muslims, or there are Muslims, Shia and Sunni and others. We shouldn't be separated from the region. And it took many years and wars and everything until we are today in a peace agreement with Egypt and Jordan, in a normalization with the Emirates and Bahrain and Morocco. And we should be more and more integrated into the Middle East and be part of it. And all those countries that I have mentioned, all of them see Iran as a threat. And I think after the attack of Iran on Israel, they are even more threatened than they were before. So they decided, because they are threatened, that they decided to improve relations with Iran. So if you have an enemy, better hold it close to yourself than put him in a situation that he can hurt you. But no question that they are afraid and concerned from Iran. They don't like the Iranians. They have also this difference between Sunni and Shia. So there are many reasons for that. Israel should try and see how it can do it. And I think we have to, and in this case I'm thinking differently from our government, I think we should find a way how to finish the war in Gaza, of course taking back all our hostages.
Hostages.
Terrible issue, and make it within a regional arrangement. Something that Israel will benefit. There is a lot of talking of a normalization between us and the Saudis. And I think this is very, very important because Saudi Arabia is a symbol in the Muslim world with the Mecca and Medina, the two holy places. And I think this is the only way that Israel can strengthen itself. It's not by more and more missiles, it's by being more integrated into the region, having more economic cooperation with the region, and we are in a very delicate time today.
I think it's incredible. I understand more now why your field is intelligence, because listening to you speak on this topic, it just makes so much sense. The enemy is trying to make this an emotional issue, and so you have a world that's lashing out of emotion without any education on the topic, any intelligence on it. And this seems to be the big problem, and people need to stop and obviously pay attention to history, to understand the enemy, like you said, holding them close to understand how they think and how they operate, instead of just yelling and screaming and not having any thought behind what our movements are.
Yeah.
Well, Sima, this has been a pleasure. I believe you have given us so much to think about in our audience, Christians and Americans, on what they could do to encourage our government to stand up and to stand against not only anti-Semitism, but this rogue regime in Iran that seeks to annihilate everyone
Yeah.
and threaten everyone. And I thank you so much for taking the time to be with us and educate us today.
Thank you. My pleasure. Thank you.
Such a busy lady. We're so glad that you guys sat down with her for just a few minutes to get such great, insightful information today.
Right. My insight is that Iran itself is not this superpower. I think verbally they say they are, but it's really who they're aligning themselves with right now. Is that correct?
That is correct, and it's prophetic that all the key players you see them aligning themselves with play a part in Israel's future in the coming wars. Specifically, I'm focused on the Battle of Gog and Magog in Ezekiel 38 and 39. But I don't believe that fulfillment is for now, because you see the motivation different. Prince Gog comes to steal Israel's natural resources, and Iran just wants to wipe them off the face of the earth. We may get a scenario like in Isaiah chapter 17, where Iran gives their nuclear weapon to Damascus. They try to fire it off from there, but Israel has to preemptively strike, and Damascus is wiped out in a single night. Whatever the situation is, there are Christians, there are believers in Iran, and they do not follow the government of the Ayatollahs. They are praying for help. And I say it's our job as believers to pray for that government to be overturned, to have a moment of reprieve before prophecy is fulfilled so that the gospel can go out to the Iranian people.
I agree, and Sima even said only 5% of the population, which has many believers there, many on the ground, but is this regime, well, I mean, 5% people go out to vote, because if they went out to vote, they're either going to get their head shot off, or the vote doesn't matter. So it's this regime that we must pray against. Is that correct?
Amen.
We do have to pray against that. And it's funny, they're not going to vote because it's too dangerous. But in America, we don't go to vote because we just get lazy. The problem with just sitting at home and watching in a vegetative state is that you're not doing anything about it. What's the point of gathering this information if you're not going to let it equip you to make a difference? That's what this ministry does. We bring the information to equip you in your spirit, in your mind, so that you can stand for the truth. We ask that you give to this ministry of what the Lord would lead you to do to help us continue to make that difference, for us to unify together and actually do something instead of adding to the statistic of doing nothing.
Guys, thank you so much for your incredible information today. It's been a great program. I can't believe it's time to go.
That's right. And as you go, Sha'alu Shalom Yerushalayim.
Pray for the peace of Jerusalem.
Our Jewish Roots is a presentation of Zola Levitt Ministries. Partner with us. Please remember we depend on tax-deductible donations from viewers like you.